Good afternoon, students. My name is Kenneth Antonio Cook. I'm a St. Martiner. I've been working at the St. Martin Academy since 2004. I am happy to meet all of the first farmers, especially since last week I did not get to meet all of you. This is the first time I'm talking to every single one of you. And at this time or juncture, I'd like to welcome you to the St. Martin Academy. Besides teaching civics, I also teach social studies to third farmers. So, more than likely, 2 years from now, God's willing, you will see me in social studies. Now, you are wondering probably what is civics. And before I can tell you what it is, I'd like to tell you a little history. The St. Martin Academy, several years ago, introduced civics for the purpose of encouraging our young men and women to love this country more and to provide them with information that thousands of people do not know. Civics is the study of how the government functions, how it works, what it does. Civics will teach you what is the role of the Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, what he does. What is the function that the governor performs? What is the difference between an executive, legislative, and judicial branch? Which type of court systems we have? What does each one of them do? What is the difference between a member of parliament and a minister? What are their roles? What do they perform? So that is basically what civics is, my students. And for you to know how to spell the subject, I have the spelling of civics, the subject, in front of the screen. So that is today's objective. Today's objective for the first lesson is to basically tell you some of the types of government that exist, because there's more. But this is today an introduction into some of them. First, I want to tell you about the first type of government is a democracy. Now, in a democracy, people can criticize the government. They can oppose it. They can tell the government when they see them doing something wrong. In a democracy, people are always allowed to vote for their leaders, for the president, for the prime minister, for senators, members of parliament. You can do this in a democracy. And a democracy is the spelling for democracy right here. That's how you spell it. Then you have the opposite of a democracy, my students, which is what we call a dictatorship. In a dictatorship, citizens cannot vote. They cannot elect their leaders. They are not permitted to criticize the government. In several instances or examples and cases, if you criticize the government or democracy in a dictatorship, you can be arrested, imprisoned, or killed. And that is in a dictatorship. This can occur. That's a dictatorship. That's how it is. And this is the spelling for a dictatorship. There's another name for a dictatorship too, and we call it an autocracy. Both a dictatorship and a autocracy, there's only one person in charge. There is one leader that controls the country. That's a dictatorship. Now, years ago, or hundreds of years ago, there was also a type of government that had a king or queen in charge, and those persons had a lot of power too. And that's called a monarchy. A monarchy, king or queen, had a lot of power. Today, there are some countries that still has a king or queen, but these persons or individuals, they don't have a lot of power. Their power, their figurehead actually, their titles, their names are ceremonial. So they don't have much power or much say. That's a monarchy. Then we have another type of government. This government had people, a group of them, that ran the country, and they were religious. Priests, pope. Once they were religious, they decided to control that country. They had the complete power, the ultimate say. We call that a theocracy. That's what you call a theocracy. Then you also have another group. They were similar, but they were not religious, but they were friends. They were colleagues. Some cases they were acquaintances, and you call that an oligarchy. Another group of people controlling a country. Then you also had another group of people. They were not religious, they were not friends, but they were rich. They were what you call wealthy. Now these persons control the countries too, and we call them a plutocracy. Now the last one I want to discuss this afternoon. In some instances in the world, we also had a government, a situation actually, not a government, where there was no government existing. There was a vacuum, there was chaos, there was trouble. There was no leader in charge, not a single person. We call that an anarchy. That's what you call an anarchy. No government, no one in charge. My students, that is my brief or concise, that's another word for brief, introduction into the types of government. Now next class, next week God's willing, we're going to discuss some more information and ideas about types of government. Now this video, the link to this video is located on Quick Schools, and also you will find it in YouTube. The address will send you to YouTube. When you finish looking at this video, you need to go back to Quick Schools. There is another link for a second video which is on YouTube, which will give you more or additional information about types of government. Then on Quick Schools, you're going to see there is an assignment, your first assignment, that will test your comprehension, your understanding of what is types of government. The next class, we will discuss, as I said before, more information about types of government. My students, may God richly bless you. May you be safe during this pandemic and after it ends. Be smart, be careful, be kind. And remember, if we don't rise together, we will fall together. Take care.